Hey y'all, this is Daniel. Welcome to Blunt Talk, baby. How we doing? We talk about the truth and nothing but it. Today's episode, we got a little bit more of hockey for you, eh? Hockey. But who better to talk hockey than one of my good friends, Alexis Lynch, aka AK. How we doing?
Hi, Dan. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I've been good. I've been applying to jobs. I've been finally playing basketball again, working out a little bit.
That's good. Basketball's life.
Basically, and I'm so happy because down here in Virginia, when the pandemic started, they took the rims out of all the hoops at the parks. So it was legit the biggest struggle in my life. It was 3, 4 months without basketball.
Wow, I didn't even know. That's crazy.
And it's not only in Virginia. I've heard like in Jersey and other areas, like they did the same, that they took hoops out because it's like
Wow.
it's a social gathering or like,
Yeah, I mean, makes sense. Like basketball, you can be really close to one another, so it totally makes sense. I get it. Yeah.
But how about you? How's the quarantine been for you so far?
Quarantine's been good. I mean, I'm back at work now. I babysit, so I'm just doing that. And then pretty much I've just been chilling. Like I was finishing up school. I still have another year left, so I get my real graduation. And that's pretty much it. Like I've enjoyed it, honestly. It's some time off. I don't really have to worry
Yes.
about anything. And government checks are great. So I couldn't be happier right now, to be honest.
I feel that. I feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I agree with you. It was kind of like a break from everything because you had to stay
hmm
inside, obviously. So it was just me relaxing and chilling, really binge watching a lot of shows.
Yeah.
And I started the podcast also. So, I mean, as you can see, it's kind of going well. And,
Yeah, it is.
but yeah, it's kind of crazy because none of us ever saw a pandemic happening this year. So, like, your semester got cut in half. But, like, for me, it was my last semester. So, like, it was a weird experience having to do classes online. That's what I will say the least.
Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, luckily for me, I love doing online class. It's
Hmm.
one of my favorite things to do since I'm a commuter. I hate driving to school every day. It's like just a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed it, but the only thing that sucks is like all my friends who were seniors, who I was mostly friends with, like they're all graduating. Some of them live in California. Like I'm not going to see them again for a really long time. So like that
Hmm.
kind of sucks. And that was like what I was mostly sad about during this whole
Yeah.
situation, which is my friends.
Yeah, I feel that. That's what happened to like, because it all happened like really fast, and no one like knew what was happening. So, because we can't lie, we all thought this was gonna be like 2, 3 weeks, and we'd be back.
Yeah, 100%. And I think Ryder closed before my school closed.
Hmm.
And I was just like, oh, like if they're closing, like that means that we're going to be closed soon. And then I went on vacation when this all started. I
I
left and I
remember.
went to Disney.
Hmm.
And then I came home. And then at that point, everything was being shut down. I thought I wasn't going to make a flight home. I thought like all these things are going to happen. I thought I was going to get the coronavirus. Like I thought so much stuff
Yeah.
was going to happen. Who knows? I could have had it, but I don't think I
Yeah.
did. But we'll
Hmm.
find out.
Yeah. That's the one thing. Florida right now is kind of crazy. Like, there's the
I
state that
know.
decided to, yeah, let's just open up the bars. Let's just do this. Let's
I
let everybody
know.
come
It's
here.
nuts. And Disney's supposed to open next week, and I'm supposed to go in August. So
Hmm.
let's hope everything kind of gets better because if it doesn't, I'm going to be a little bit nervous to fly down to Florida and be on a plane with everyone that's going to and from Florida. So
Hmm. Hey, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed, though.
that's very true.
And the one thing is, for example, I found it interesting since you mentioned Disney's opening in like August, or is it like in July that's opening? It's in July, right?
July. It's
July,
next week. I think it's next week or the week after. Yeah.
because the NBA is gonna have like their season, like the end of their season, the playoffs in Disney, and
Yeah.
the MLS, the soccer league for the United States, is gonna play in the Disney Sports Complex as well.
Yeah. I
So
heard
like,
all of this because the basketball teams, they're staying in the hotel that's next to my hotel. So like it's possible I might run into like a few basketball players while I'm there.
that'd be awesome. Accidentally
Yeah, it
bump
would be
into,
cool.
hey, watch where you're going, and then it's like LeBron James be like, "What'd you say, kid?"
Imagine. Oh my God.
Oh my god. But I don't know how to feel about having two sports leagues in the same complex. I get it, it's a huge complex in a huge area. It's basically like a whole city,
Yeah.
but
It's
it's still you're still putting two big groups of people.
Yeah, that's how I feel about with the NHL, what they're doing. They're
In
doing 2
Toronto,
hub
right?
cities. Yeah, they're doing 2 hub cities, but what I don't understand is right now everyone's going back to training camp and, like, getting their training together and getting their teams ready to go, and they're all in the spot that they're always in. So what's the point of bringing them to these 2 hub cities to play when you're playing in that one spot already? It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever.
That's what I'm saying. It really doesn't make sense because because right now for every sport, they're all in their training camps. They're all just practicing in their facilities.
Yeah.
How can you control how that city or state is like dealing with the whole pandemic?
Yeah, and
And then
especially with hockey, we have a
Mhm.
lot of guys coming, like, from Russia and all these different places, like, I know
One of
who
the
just
most
flew in.
international sports.
Yeah, Mika Zibanejad just flew in, one of our Vitaly just flew in, like, we have a couple people who just came
Panarin.
in.
Panarin is
Y
my favorite from the Rangers right now.
Panarin, yeah, I love him. I'll get into him later, but, like, I love him.
Mhm,
Um, but it's just, like, all these people are coming from all these different places, so,
mhm.
like, how are you going to stop the spread from like it just doesn't make any sense to me, and I feel like we are kind of living in like the fear right now, which I get, but like I'm trying to live my life and not live in a bubble anymore. Like I at one point we're all going to have to go outside and have our normal lives back, and whether that be now or a year from now, which I hope it's not, but it's just like at
Yeah.
one point someone's going to have to take the initiative and just go outside and see what happens,
Oh
because the
no,
vaccine
definitely.
isn't going to come quick.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like it's gonna be something. It's the waiting game. Honestly, we've been playing the waiting game so far. Some people were able to handle it. Some people aren't. Some people are
Yeah.
not following the rules, directions. But honestly, eventually this is all gonna work out for the better. We just gotta wait and see how everything unfolds.
Yeah, exactly. It's
That's
gonna
all
be
we can do.
weird.
It's definitely weird because like for example, the sports business or like concerts.
Yeah.
They depend on money from the fans or the people sitting in the seats or getting the tickets.
Yep.
So when are they gonna finally feel comfortable attending like live performances or games?
Exactly. It's gonna be interesting. I know players have been saying that it's gonna be really different playing in an arena without fans, because it's gonna be so quiet. Like it's gonna be, I feel like almost awkward, like being able to hear everything that's going on while
I'm
you're
on the
in that
opposition of
arena.
that argument. My reasoning
Really?
is I'm in the reasoning if you're not playing with fans, it's gonna bring out the best of some people because there's no one to judge you. So it's just you playing. Think about it as when you play high school sports or when you're just playing like college sports or just like playing normal pickup soccer, basketball, whatever sport you play.
That's true.
Normally you don't have people watching your every move, so you just play to like your best of your ability with like the one thing I'm intrigued to see is the trash talk. Because if you can't hear anyone, they better be doing something to put mics up or like put like
Yeah, they did. The Rangers do that sometimes. They mic them up sometimes. I don't, but the thing is you'll still be on TV. So like you still have to be kind of careful about what you do, because you're still being watched regardless if it's not in person. You still
yeah.
have referees there, you still have your GMs, and then you have TV. So like you have people watching you
Hmm.
24/7 and how you hold yourself, because I know on the Rangers like we have some people that we look at as captains because we don't
Hmm.
really have a captain right now. So like they need to take like the initiative and
Yeah,
still act in like a certain way
of
that New
course.
Yorkers want to see them react, like act. It's
That's a
gonna
good
be
point.
different.
That's a good point. You do bring it up. That's a good point because they have to still be sportsmanlike or not be completely disrespectful in any way. But I'm thinking about it like in the mental aspect, like you mentioned before.
Hmm.
It's unprecedented. Like, those professionals don't play in front of no fans. So it might
Hmm.
actually show you when the going gets tough, who can deal with like this unprecedented situation the best.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be different, and especially for the Rangers coming from such like a big fan base and having like a sold out arena almost every night, and having just, that background noise while you're
Yeah.
playing hockey and having fans hype you up when you need it.
Hmm.
It's gonna be so interesting to see how different it is and see if like the fans really do help or hinder like a team and how they
Yeah.
act and how they react to things. Like it's going to be really interesting. It's going to be a whole new
Hmm.
era. And like, I just hope that it goes back to normal soon, because
Yeah.
I miss MSG and I want to be sitting in my seats and I want to be watching Rangers. That's like my happy place.
I
So
agree with you. I agree with you. Hopefully it all goes for the better sooner than later. The
I hope
other thing
so.
is you gotta think about these athletes, how they're gonna be dealing. Because, for example, at least for the NBA, I know the players are gonna have to stay in the hotels for like 7 weeks minimum, or something like. Majority of them are gonna have to stay 7 weeks minimum, but they can't have any guests until like the semifinals.
That's crazy. Not being able to see your loved ones or like anyone. That's like I can't even imagine that.
That's another mental thing you gotta add to it.
Like not being able to go home to your home after a game and just
Uh-huh.
like take a break from work. Like, because that's what it is. It's their job. Like, that's like if me as a babysitter, if I went to bed in the same place that I was literally watching kids, like
Yeah.
it's gonna, some people are gonna crack from this. I feel like we're gonna see a whole different side of a lot of different people that we've never seen
Uh-huh.
before,
That's
especially
what
with
I'm saying.
NBA, with everything that happened with Kobe and people still trying to get over that. Like, it's gonna be really, really
No,
interesting.
definitely, definitely. NBA 2K just released like their Legends edition of the cover.
I
It's Kobe
saw.
Bryant. I am so happy that they made Kobe
Me
Bryant the cover
too.
for it. It's
Me
really good.
too.
But
That was nuts.
the whole point you made that they're gonna crack, that's what I mean. This like I feel like in every sport that's coming back up because of the pandemic, they're saying, oh, whoever wins the title will have an asterisk to its name. If anything, might be the most difficult title any sports team can win in their history because
Yep.
it's never been seen before. People are just coming back from doing nothing but stay in their houses.
Exactly.
And then the mental aspect of, okay, you spend all this time with your family, ditch them. Ditch them. Stay
Yeah.
in this hub. Stay in this bubble right now. See if you can make it. It's gonna prove out to show like who actually wants it the most, in my opinion.
Yeah. I know. I totally agree with you 100%. It's gonna be, I mean, at least we're living in history. Like, this is what's crazy to me is whenever I think about the coronavirus, I'm like, this is something we'll be telling our kids about one day that we lived through and that
Uh-huh.
we watched happen as 21 and 22-year-olds. Like, it's going to be
Yeah.
so crazy to have this story to tell people when we're older. Like, we're going to see arenas empty while they're playing things. Like, we're going to see how people react to this. We're going to see a vaccine be created. We're going to see the world completely change with masks and social distancing and all of this stuff.
Hmm.
Like, nothing is ever going to be the same. And we're literally living in a part of history, kind of like how 9/11 changed airplanes and the way
I know what
security
you mean.
is.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
completely different.
Yeah, it's really crazy the fact that like we actually are living through this, and not everyone in their lives lived through this. I know you could say like is it the bubonic plague, the black plague? What was it called? Like
Hmm.
that was way back, but like it wasn't to the extent of like that was just in that specific area. This is going like throughout the whole, and it's just never been seen, never been dealt with, and never been heard. So it's
No
just
one knows what they're talking about when it comes to this. Like,
if
I've seen them say that like heat kills it and then that heat doesn't kill it and that it could be on surfaces and it can't be on surfaces and that
bro,
it could spread it
how
by
can the heat kill it if like my family in Puerto Rico is dealing with like the quarantine and the pandemic the same way? Like,
right, exactly. And no one knows what they're talking about. They have
mhm,
no idea what this is and what it is. Like, now they're saying that like if you were asymptomatic, like that you can't pass it to anyone. Like, it just, everything doesn't make sense. They don't know
mhm.
what they're talking about. We don't even, they said that it came from bat soup in China, but like we don't, it could, like people are thinking it came from a lab, which I mean, like I could kind of see that happening. I don't really know. But
Mhm.
like there's a lot of unknown and
There's
like
a lot
that's
of
kind of
unknown. Yeah,
scary, but like I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm enjoying the time off right
yeah.
now, so it's fine.
The last thing that I want to mention about this is the one thing I think will be very successful during this whole sports with no fans is
Hmm.
streaming services.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
If you're like a company that does a streaming service, you better be doing a negotiation with the NHL or like the NBA, because
Oh yeah.
not every game gets transmitted through ESPN and all the major sports channels like that.
Hmm.
Especially in the NHL, the NHL only has a partnership with NBC, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and MSG has its own channel, so like luckily for
Hmm.
me, I'll be able to like see that because I have MSG. But I know Disney just did like they're doing something with like Hulu, and I think it's ESPN Sports. I could be wrong though.
ESPN, it's
And like,
called ESPN Plus. I have that deal. I
oh,
got
you
that deal.
do?
Yeah, I do have that deal.
Does that let you watch all of the teams or just certain ones?
Well, the issue for me is like with ESPN Plus, you need a cable subscription, and the reason we had got it originally is because
Horrible.
we thought it would be without a cable subscription. So, but if you have a cable subscription, you can watch all the ESPN channel sports games. But for example, for hockey, they're not with ESPN. They're with NBC, so you can't really
Yeah,
watch hockey.
that's
The one
very
things that
weird.
the one things that are beneficial there is UFC, like UFC pay-per-views. I get to see
Hmm.
them for free on ESPN Plus.
Yeah, that's how I watched, was it McGregor? No. Yeah, maybe. Was it McGregor? Did McGregor just fight someone this past year?
In the last couple months, he had a fight and he retired.
Yeah, so that was on ESPN Plus. That's why I got ESPN Plus, was to watch that
Hmm.
fight with like my
Hmm.
family. That's right. Yeah.
Hmm.
Mhm.
But yeah, if you're a streaming service, you're gonna make money out of this, and at least in my opinion, hell, even give Netflix. Netflix be like, hey, NHL, how about we do like a streaming service for your games or something? Like anything will make money.
Someone should do something. Like someone, they'll make so much money off of
Twitch,
it because
YouTube, I don't know, man. Like any streaming website or platform.
yeah, I don't know. It's gonna
Because
streaming services were already taking over as is, so like we'll see what happens because someone's gonna do something. Like they're not just not gonna let people watch all the games. So something's gonna be announced soon. I'm really excited to see what it's gonna be. But
we gotta see how it goes. Now,
yeah,
for our first topic of our podcast, we'll talk a little bit about it. But you had a podcast that you started.
yes, only one episode happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then the girl that I did it with, her name's Valerie,
Mm-hmm.
she got the coronavirus. So we had to stop for a little bit because she was really like not doing well. Like she wasn't on the edge of dying or anything or going to the hospital, but she felt horrible. She had headaches all the time. She literally couldn't talk. Like she just felt horrible. I had classes with her. She would barely be online on classes. But we started the podcast because Val needed to do like an independent project for school.
Mm-hmm.
So we started that. We were going to start it in March, and then the coronavirus happened. So we're like, okay,
Yeah.
how are we supposed to do this? Because at my school, we have a whole room where you can film podcasts, someone will edit for you, and then you send it out.
Yeah.
But so we kind of had to take it into our own initiative, kind of like what you're doing, and we filmed it over Zoom. And then we recorded it, and I edited it really quick on iMovie, and then I would send it out.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, like I think we're gonna try and get back into it. It's just like our schedules are so different right now.
Yeah.
She has 3 jobs, I have a job, and I'm like seeing my family more, like my grandparents. I haven't really been able to see them that much. And my uncle just had a girl, so I'm trying to see my cousin as well. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's just so much stuff going on in life right now that it's really
Yeah.
hard for me to have like a consistent schedule. So I think we're waiting until we can 100%
Yeah.
have a good schedule to get back into it.
Or at least wait until like you guys get the hang of things, because like now everything's kind of opening up and you're finally able, like as you mentioned, see your family, spend time with them, and she's dealing
Yeah,
with other jobs. Try to see when it gets consistent. I guess that's the word I will say, because then actually
exactly.
you'll be able to plan for it.
Right, exactly.
So you did it for a school project, basically.
Yeah, it was for her independent project, which I don't really know what's going to happen with that now because
Mm.
I'm really curious. But also, it wasn't just that, but we had to, for the newspaper that I work on at my school newspaper, The Impact, a part of our curriculum is to do a podcast. So we technically did 2 episodes. One of them went for the Impact and the other one went for our SoundCloud. I didn't put the one on our SoundCloud because I did like talk some shit a little bit and I didn't really want some people to see it. So I like kind of hid it away. But so that's kind of how it all started. And like her and I became friends this past year while we were
Uh-huh.
working on the newspaper together, and we've been really close ever since. And it's great because she still has a semester left, so I'll be able to see her, and
Okay.
hopefully we'll be able to continue this
Yeah.
again.
Hopefully, and definitely
Mhm.
let me know what happens with it, because I
Of course,
I heard a little
we're
bit
gonna
of
have you on it. So
but I had heard a little bit of the first episode, so I'm definitely curious to see how that turns out to be, if it can keep on going.
me too. Yeah, for sure.
Do you have anything else you want to add about the podcast, really?
Not really. I mean, pretty much just we have socials, and
Mhm.
so if you want to see what's going on with that, you can follow that. But other than that,
I'll
that's
put
really
it
it.
on the description if you want, of the YouTube video.
Cool. Thanks.
Uh, Now onto our last topic of today. You are a die-hard Rangers fan, and I'm a big
Yes.
Rangers fan too. So First off, let's start with the easy question. Why the Rangers? Why did you become a Rangers fan?
Okay, so honestly, I have lived in New York my whole life. I've
Mhm.
lived in Westchester County my whole entire life. I've moved different towns, but I've always been here. The one time I went to Jersey, I absolutely hated it. Dan saw it. I came back home. I lasted 2 years, couldn't do anymore. Um, my dad was a huge Rangers fan as well, so I think he kind of persuaded me a little bit to become a
Mhm.
Rangers fan. My dad had played hockey since he was 5, and then he went to SUNY Canton, which is like upstate New York,
Mhm.
and they made it to nationals and they won, and that was in like 1987. And then when he came home, a former New York Rangers player, I don't have the name because I took like quick notes, but saw him playing at Playland, which is like an ice rink in Westchester, and they sent him to the farm team in Canada. And so I think that's what really kind of started like his love for like the
Mhm.
Rangers and like the organization and things like that. But when he was there playing, he blew out his knee. So like the rest was like kind of history. He
Yeah.
became a hockey coach after that. And then a little while after coaching, he just kind of dropped hockey as a whole. And now he's on to baseball for who knows what reasons. And he's a Mets fan. So I don't
Damn,
even
son, that quick jump from hockey to baseball, I like.
I don't even like to talk to him about baseball because I'm a Yankees fan and he's a Mets fan, so we just clash.
That's an inner
Um,
family rivalry now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Luckily, we have the Rangers that we bond on and
Mhm.
things like that. But
Mhm.
so it really started from him. And then I feel like I really got into like being a fan of the Rangers when I was maybe a junior in high school because that's when I really started understanding like hockey and how it worked because it takes a little bit to learn a sport. So
Oh, definitely.
I I really got into it then and I really started to appreciate it and not just because of like the cute boys and everything that play hockey, but like I truly did like it. It brought some like entertainment into my life. It was something that I could put on the TV that was fast paced and
Mhm.
I liked. And that's the thing about hockey. It's just kind of like it's fast paced. They're always going for a puck. There
Yes.
might be a fight. There's power plays. There's all different aspects of the
Yeah.
game that make it really exciting. And just the Rangers, I could never be an Islanders fan. I could never in my life be an Islanders fan. I don't know one how you do it. You have the worst arena in New York. You're at Barclays, which is not made for hockey. It is made for basketball and
Mhm.
concerts. And just like I don't want to say the team's horrible because they did all right this season and last
They're
season.
kind of in the middle, like recently.
Yeah,
They've been in the
they're
middle.
not horrible. So I'm not going to say that. It's just when you hear New York sports, you think Yankees and you think Rangers. And like
Yeah.
those are my two teams. And people will be like, "Oh, you're just a bandwagon fan." I'm like, "No, I'd be a bandwagon fan if I was an Islanders fan or a Mets fan." Like the Rangers, I have followed ever since they have not won a Stanley Cup in years, and
Mhm.
I've stayed with them. And I don't know, they're just it's a part of my heart now. Like I
Yeah.
was a hockey manager for a little bit in college, and I give the Rangers props for that because they're part of the reason I did that because they're
Mhm.
the reason why I love hockey and I can't even remember. I think I was a freshman in college when I saw my first Rangers game, and I was like, "Yep, this is it." I was like, "This is what I love, and this is
Mhm.
what I'm going to keep watching for the rest of my life." And ever since then, I've been going every year, and I love it. So that's why I'm a Rangers fan. It's just the community and just how it feels when you walk into MSG. It just feels like home. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
What position did your dad play? That you said he played hockey. Was he a
my
defenseman,
dad
a
My
winger,
dad was
or
a defenseman. Yeah, he's
okay?
a defenseman. He's a big, tall guy, so
Okay.
that's why.
Yeah.
He literally lost a tooth from hockey. He has so many injuries on him from hockey that I literally can't. I mean, his knee. He blew out his knee from
Mhm.
hockey. Like,
Yeah.
he's just like a tough guy, and like I love that man. He's the best, and I'm happy
Mhm.
he brought hockey into my life. Like, I really am. So
Yeah. Hockey. The reason I started liking hockey is part is because, like as you mentioned, it is a really fast sport, and like people don't really think about it. Like, sure, you can't see the puck, but half the time you're just running into the other person, and you're trying to skate back to realize that, oh shit, we have to go on defense now, and it's just really
hmm
fast paced. It's kind of like soccer, but in a smaller scale because you're going so much back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and I never played hockey, but in Ryder, I did intramural sports and I did a floor hockey. I tried being a goalie. That wasn't it for me because just go
I
the
remember this.
how a goalie has to like bend down and like stay like the whole time. That's so difficult. I actually don't know how goalies in hockey do it.
Goalies are nuts. I give them I give them so much props. Like especially, I was gonna bring this up, but I guess since we're talking about goalies right now, I'll bring it up. Henrik Lundqvist he's the king of New York. He is the king of New York. I will forever say it. I will forever believe that. And I just feel like the Rangers are doing him so dirty right now. Like we brought in Shesterkin, and now it's kind of like we forgot about who Hank is. And I was like, how can we do this to him? He stayed with our team for so long, regardless of not winning a Stanley Cup. Like
he's played there his whole career, right?
For like 20 years. Yeah, he's been with us for a really long time. And I don't think he's the greatest. No, now I don't think he's the greatest. He used to be, but I just feel like we're doing him so dirty because he's been so loyal to New York, and he deserves a lot of credit for the things he do. Being a goalie is hard, and even being a regular skater is hard. You're on ice skating with a stick trying to get a puck and also fighting people. Like it's a hard sport. It's
yes,
hard.
it is.
So
that's the one thing I agree with you. Like Henrik Lundqvist is underappreciated in that because sure he's not the greatest goalie of all time, but the man stayed loyal to his team, and Nance was arguably one of the best goalies you've seen in New York Rangers history because of it. It's like in sports where you see like a player like Kobe Bryant play with the Lakers his whole career. Like Ovechkin, you know Ovechkin for the Capitals. He's been in Washington his whole career. Like when you see athletes that are not just loyal, but they're actually like they're legends. They're legends. So like you just can't do them dirty like that. I hate that that's happening right now.
Yeah, it's really upsetting.
But on the podcast that I did with my friend Kyle, when we were doing like all-time players per position, we put Henrik Lundqvist as the number 3 goalie of all time.
Yeah, I mean, of course. I just feel like there's a couple players that I feel like this about that have a spot in my heart regardless if they're on the Rangers or not. Like Henrik will always have a spot in my heart because when I first started playing hockey, he was who our goaltender was. Like that's who he was. That's who I knew of. And I just feel like the Rangers need to give him a better chance. And I hope during the playoff run that he does get a better chance because he deserves it.
Hopefully, he deserves it.
No, he does deserve it. Just because we have this new kid doesn't mean anything. And even when Shesterkin got injured in his car accident, they didn't put Hank in. They put in what's his name? Why am I forgetting?
Another backup, basically.
Yeah, he wasn't a backup. Like he played for Shesterkin before Shesterkin became like on our team. I'm forgetting his name though. If I remember, I'll bring it up, but I can't remember right now.
I'm looking at the roster right now. Alexander Georgiev.
Yeah, Georgiev. Yep, that's who. Yeah, okay, exactly. Yeah. So they put him in instead of Hank. I was just like, that's a little messed up. But I think Hank is kind of appreciating like Shesterkin. I feel like he kind of took him under his wing and is kind of telling him like things to do because Shesterkin is going to be like he's going to be the person that helps us get to the Stanley Cup, hopefully. Yeah. And he is number 31 and Hank is 30. So, I mean, it's kind of cute. Like, it's like a little brother kind of, I feel like.
Oh, yeah, I get what you mean. But the other reason that I became a Rangers fan is watching them play in the Stanley Cup final against the Los Angeles Kings. That was like the first time. I remember I came back from basketball practice late at night, got to my house, was eating dinner, and I put the TV on. First thing I see is the Stanley Cup final. I'm like, okay, let's see. And I saw like the Rangers scoring a goal and the Kings scoring a goal. It was just like a back and forth game. That's the reason I fell in love with hockey, watching the Rangers be in the Stanley Cup final. So of course I had to become a Rangers fan after that.
Yeah, I remember meeting you and we were just talking about it and I was like, oh, like who do you like? And you're like the Rangers. I was like, this kid from Virginia likes the Rangers. I was like, this makes no sense to me. And it was so funny. And I was like, you know what? You picked a good team. You did pick a good team.
Yeah, my mom's from New York, so like I've become, as you can see, I have like the Knicks jersey in the back.
Yes.
I'm just the Knicks, Yankees, Giants, and Rangers fan for like all my sports.
As you should be. That makes total sense.
How do you feel about Lundqvist's chances, though? Do you think he's going to retire as a New York Ranger, or do you think, because they're kind of rebuilding right now, do you think he's going to get traded?
I was just looking at like our salary stuff the other day on one of these websites, and I think he'll stay with the Rangers another year and then retire, and I think that'll be it. I don't think he'll leave because he's had the opportunity to go. and he's just wanted to stay loyal. I think he wants to stay in New York. I mean, he's played his whole life here, and I just feel like he doesn't want to go. And I hopefully get to see, I want to see him retire here. I would love to see it. I feel like his whole life is in New York. His kids are here. His wife is here. I feel like he should stay here. And I will pay any amount of money to go see him in his retirement game. I will pay any amount of money to be at the Garden to watch him retire. I don't care if I'm sitting in the nosebleeds. I need to watch this happen. It's going to be a part of history for me.
It will be. Like, he will leave down a legacy after him because he's one of the greatest goalies I've ever seen play.
Yeah.
And it's going to be very, like, significant and emotional when, like, he actually calls it quits. Do you think he would do something like Kobe did, that, like, yeah, this is my last season, so they'll do, like, a retirement tour for him?
Probably, or he'll probably, like, announce it as they get closer to playoffs, I feel like, as soon as, like, the regular season's coming to an end. The sad thing about Henrik leaving is he is the best dressed on the New York Rangers team. I don't know if you've seen the suits he walks in every day.
Oh, yes.
He's the best dressed on the team. I will say that forever. I mean, like, I have other players who I'm, like, totally in love with, but when I see Hank get out of his car or walk into an arena, I'm like, that is Henrik Lundqvist, the best dressed man in all of the NHL. Like, that is what, as a girl, that is what I see every single time.
I didn't know this, but Kyle, when I recorded the podcast with him, told me that apparently he's got his own jewelry line, or like he's sponsored by a jewelry line.
I literally did not know that.
Yes,
and good for him.
That's how fly he is. That's how
of
fly
course
he is.
He would have it no other way. Of course. Wow, good for him.
How do you feel about your boy Brady Ski?
Oh God,
getting traded this last season?
Brady Shea, man, it really, like, messed me up. Like, it made me. I understood he was asking for a lot of money, and we want to open up that salary cap. I get it. I totally understood why we did what we did. He wasn't playing as best as he used to anymore. I get it. I just, like, I feel betrayed by the Rangers, but at the same time, like, I'm like, it's a job. This is what happens. This is what they have to do. And, I'll follow Brady for wherever he goes. Obviously, Rangers will always be my top choice. As we know, Carolina and Rangers are playing in the playoffs. And Carolina, actually, Tony DeAngelo, who's one of our defensemen on the Rangers, started a podcast. And he told everyone that Carolina and Tampa Bay were the only two teams that voted against the play-in round, like the round robin play-in. They voted against it. So I just, like, it just makes Shea look so bad because people are already people are already ripping him apart because he wasn't that great. And people are only saying, oh, the only people that like you are girls that think you're attractive, which, I mean, probably true. But, like, at the same time, like, it just makes him look really bad. I feel like he's going to have the worst playoff run of his whole entire life because he's playing against his old team. He literally is going to see all of his best friends. He just picked up and went from New York to Carolina, and he only played maybe 3 or 4 games with Carolina. So he didn't really get, like, how he should feel on a team yet. Like, he's still kind of new to everything.
He's still getting accustomed to it.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like it's going to take him a little bit, especially to get him back in his prime. He's going to need some training. He's going to need some help. And, like, training with a new coach and new players, it's just hard. I feel like it's kind of like when you go to a new school. You have new teachers. You have new friends. It's kind of, you have to get accustomed to everything. And it kind of just stopped as he was getting used to it. And he came back to New York, and he stayed here. And now he's going to have to fly back out to Carolina and start everything over again. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I wish him the best, but I also want New York to win. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I still love him forever.
Do you think the pieces you got in return for him, like, would you? All right, let me rephrase the question. Would you say New York won the trade or Carolina won the trade?
I would say New York won the trade.
Okay.
Because we got money back that we needed, and because now that money could be put into Chris Kreider, who we just signed again, and it could be put into signing Schron, who we might give up or might keep after this season because his contract is up, along with Brendan Lemieux, who's one of our greatest fighters, I think. So that aspect, but then also we got a first-round pick. So that's also great because, we're trying to rebuild. We want new players. We want new people. So I guess we'll see what happens. I feel like Carolina really got the shit end of the stick. I mean, in my eyes, like, I'll always love him, but he's not a great player. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I just feel bad he's been with them since he started. So I don't know.
The funny thing is, I got NHL, like the video game, on my PlayStation, and then I tried rebuilding the Rangers. So I traded away like 5 first round, not like, it was actually 4 first rounders and a second rounder for Ovechkin, and I got him.
Wow. I think Seamus did that. He had TJ Oshie and he got Ovechkin, and then I made him keep Brady Shea on the team. I was like, please keep him on the team. And who else did he get? Yeah, his roster's so weird on this game. I'm like looking at it. I'm like, who the hell are these people on this team?
Yeah.
It's so funny.
I love playing NHL though. It's a fun game. I started playing more of the EA Sports games because I had EA access. So I'm gonna download Madden. So I'm gonna start getting into football and see how that goes. But I had FIFA for the longest time. But as soon as I got NHL, like the way they made their game mode be, like you can.
Do you have NHL 20?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I just got that for Seamus. Yeah. It's awesome.
They have Snoop Dogg as a commentator.
I know. It's crazy. It's nuts. I'm like, what does Snoop Dogg know about hockey? And then like he's actually like sitting there talking about everything. Like it's a great game. I love the pond hockey on it too. Like I don't really play it because I suck at video games. The only thing I play is like Animal Crossing on my Nintendo Switch because it's easy. Yeah. I'm just not good at aiming and I'm not good at shooting. I can skate somewhat, but yeah, he enjoys it. From what I can tell. They make great games. I've always thought that.
They do. And that's the one thing, like, I was a sports management major, so me seeing how the NHL has, like, a game mode where I can manage the team, I was like, I'm going to do everything in my power to make the Rangers great again. That's how I saved the save game. I have it saved as make the Rangers great again.
That's awesome.
All right, going off that, if you were the GM of the Rangers, like, how would you go on with the rebuild? Like, do you think like the Brady Shea trade like is a good step towards it?
I think we're going in the right direction. Like I think getting Panarin was probably one of the best things that we have ever done. By the way, that was a year yesterday that we got Panarin.
Really?
He is such a big part of the team now. I love him. I think my next jersey is going to be a Panarin jersey. That's what Seamus's jersey is right now. So I think it was a great job bringing him in. I don't know about Brady though. I think it could have gone either way. It could have gone hit or miss. Like he wasn't really bringing anything into the team, but he could get assists sometimes. Like it just kind of depends on the situation. Maybe if he got his head back into the game a little bit, it would have been different. I don't know, but I don't really feel like I would do anything different than what they're doing right now. I mean, getting young kids is important. The one person I would get rid of who I absolutely hate, what's his name? I can literally see his face in my head right now. Hedl. Philip Hedl. I literally hate him for whatever reason it is, but every game that I seem to be sitting at MSG, this kid is doing something wrong. So I would love to get rid of him. I really am not a fan of him. I boo him all the time, and like it's really funny because I'm sitting with my Rangers jersey on, I'm like screaming at him that he sucks. So I think I would have gotten rid of Hedl instead of Brady, honestly. But
Cheadle?
Yeah, he's a forward.
He's a first round draft pick for you guys in 2017.
Oh, horrible. And he's so ugly too, to add on. He's so ugly. He's so ugly.
He appears to be injured though for you guys right now.
Really? Oh, maybe he was.
March, and he got injured in March, so I don't know. He might be better now.
72, right? That's his number, I think.
Yeah, that's the number. Yeah, 72.
Maybe. I don't follow him at all. I could care less about him, so who knows?
Okay.
Hopefully he'll be injured for playoffs and he won't come back.
How do you think the Rangers' chances fare for like the playoffs now? Because I was gonna ask you, first off, do you like this playoff format? Because
I'm enjoying it. I really am, because I know we're gonna beat Carolina. Like, I know we're beating
Mhm,
Carolina. Like, that is not, we're gonna wipe them. Every time we played them, we have beaten them. So I
mhm.
know that, like, we're gonna win. Hopefully, Jinx, knock on wood. I'm gonna knock on
Yeah.
wood right now. But I think I'm enjoying it. Yeah, I get to see Brady play against the Rangers. Like, I'm happy for a little bit. I get to
Mhm.
sit and watch them play a couple games. I can't wait to see the interactions between like Brady and like his friends
Yeah.
too. That'll be interesting to see. Um,
If
yeah,
the
I'm
Rangers
ready for
win,
it.
who do they face in the next round? Or who are the two options? I'm trying to remember because
I literally have no idea. Hold on. I'm like, I get really confused about this playoff thing because I don't, Seamus understands it better than I do.
bro, like the
Mm,
first like for the from the 5th to 12th seeds, they got to do a best out of 3 series. That's the one thing I know. But then the 1 and 4 seeds in each conference have to play like the World Cup, like for soccer, it's like a
Yeah.
group stage and you play each team once and then you get points. So that's what's gonna happen for the 1 and 4 seeds.
Hmm.
Like I'm looking at
Here, here it's saying Boston. It's saying the Bruins. That's what someone wrote. It said it's likely. I don't think anything is set in stone yet. That makes me nervous though.
yeah, hear me out. The qualifying round will be composed of best of 5 series.
Mhm.
All other
Okay.
rounds, the first round, the second round, conference finals, and the Stanley Cup final will be best of 7 series. And then there's a seeding format. In each succeeding round of the 2020 Stanley Cup playoffs, the highest remaining seed in each conference will face the lowest seed. So say the number 1 seed lost to the worst team, then
Yeah.
the second best team faces that worst team that
Team.
passed on. It's not just like a set in stone bracket. It's just to make sure that the team with the best record faces the worst team with the worst record
Okay.
every
Yeah,
possible time.
that makes sense. All right. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting either way, regardless.
The
I'm
one
still going to
thing,
watch, even if the
mhm,
Rangers get knocked out. I'm still going to watch because it's going to be something new. Like, I'm
mhm,
so curious to see who's going to win the Stanley Cup this year. And
mhm.
if the Rangers pull it off, I think I might have a heart attack. So
It'd be
that's
crazy. It'd be crazy. But anything can go when like after the quarantine and like whole
anything.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It could be one of the worst teams who could win. Like,
Mhm.
who knows? Carolina could beat the Rangers and win a Stanley Cup. Like,
That's a possibility. What I find hilarious that I tell all my Jersey folk is that the Devils couldn't even make the playoffs in a playoff format of 12 teams.
yeah, they were not doing well this year. They did so
Oh my god.
They did so bad this year because Carolina and New York, I think when everything was still the same, Carolina was right above New York for getting a playoff spot.
Mhm.
And they had to beat the Islanders to get into that playoff spot, and they did. And then the Rangers were right there. So I think they picked like out of that, like those playoffs, and Devils were like all the way at the bottom.
Yeah,
So I feel bad for everyone in New Jersey, but at the same time, I really don't. So
yeah. The one thing that comes to mind too is like there's no real home court advantage.
there's not.
So it'll be interesting to see like how that affects the teams in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yeah, I don't think that affects the Rangers necessarily. They've had a good few away games, and they've had a good few home games. I've seen them completely lose at home before, so I think they'll be able to, pull it together. And
Hmm.
especially if like you're playing in a hub city for so long after a couple games, like you're gonna kind of feel like you're at home and feel like you're, playing at home. Like, even though it won't be MSG to them, but
I'm trying to see if I can find the Rangers road record.
let me see.
Rangers road, because if you're good on the road, then like this whole aspect of not having home court doesn't really affect you.
So their road record is 19-12-3. Their
That's
home
that's
record is 18-16-2.
that's a good record for away because you only have you said 19
One,
and 3.
yeah,
That's not bad at all, especially for hockey.
yeah, no. They've
Because
won
they were
they've
so
won
far in the
37
season. Yeah.
games. Yeah, they've won 37 games, and now those 37, they've won 19 on the road and 18 at home.
And
So that's,
they had 79 points accumulated this season, but they were still 7th in their
yep,
division.
yeah.
Because that the whole division aspect of hockey was like a new thing that happened recently, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Because before it used to be like conferences, and then like it was everyone would like, I think if I'm not mistaken, it was 8 teams will make the playoffs. Now it's like the first 3 teams make the playoffs of the division, and then just
Yeah, so
wild card.
there's two on from West and two from East, and then those four just keep playing each other. Like they just keep playing and playing and playing and playing. And then they somehow, like, I don't know how the hell they're doing it, because they really like haven't really explained how it's
Yeah,
gonna go.
yeah,
And I just think teams are just gonna keep playing each other and knocking each. It's so different because I'm so used to like a nice like
yeah,
a consistent
yeah.
schedule, like where you can just tell, okay, so if they win, they're going here, and if they win, then they're going
Mhm.
here. Like it's just so much better that way. But I get it; it's a new thing, and
Yeah.
we're gonna have to get used to it.
I can't blame them because they're experimenting to see how this works. I mean, what better time to
Yeah,
make an experiment in this sense than like right now when like people are craving sports and you really can't go wrong with anything you do.
yeah. No, you can't. You can't.
That's what I
It'll be
wanted the NBA
interesting.
to do because the NBA just did okay. We're gonna have like a normal playoff and there's gonna be a play-in game for like the 9th seed or 8th seed.
Yeah.
Bro, you have so much time to think about this. Do a World Cup. Do like a
Yeah.
do do something interesting. I don't know. Like I don't know.
We'll
But
see what happens.
mhm. The last question I have for you: what's your favorite Rangers moment of all time that you can think of?
Ooh. Ooh, can it involve me? Is that it can it involve me? Because, well, I've had some interesting ones. The Rangers didn't win this one, but it was really interesting because I kind of learned something new about hockey when I went to this game. So I went to this game. It was against the Capitals a couple years ago,
Hmm.
and we went to a shootout. And like those are my favorite games. Like I love those games. You're on the edge of your seat the whole time. You don't know what's gonna happen. Anyone could win, and I believe Georgiev was in net, and Ovechkin went to go shoot, and Georgiev threw his stick. And when you throw your stick, that means that you automatically give that team that point. And we were like tied at that point, so whoever made the next goal won. So then everyone's like, okay, game's over. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, he literally didn't make it in. The stick was just thrown. So then I'm just sitting there, like waiting for the referee to call something, and they win. And like Obi's talking to the referee, and I'm like, okay, like this makes no sense. So then I'm sitting next to someone, and they're like explaining to me. They're like, oh, like if a goalie throws their stick, that's an automatic like goal. And I was like, holy shit, like I never knew that. So
Hmm.
I remember going home on the train that night. I was so mad. I was like, that makes no sense. This is the dumbest rule in the NHL. Like this makes no sense. It's so dumb. Like I'm so mad. So I think that one was one of my favorite moments because I learned something new, and like I thought it was interesting to learn. And I also got to see Ovechkin play the Rangers. Like I love watching Ovi play. I think he's a great player.
Hmm.
And I was so happy for him when he won the cup.
He was
I'm
having
trying to
a party or like a vacation
Oh
after he
yeah.
won the
Oh
cup.
yeah. My favorite picture, Seamus actually showed me this picture. It's of him and his wife laying in bed with the with the Stanley Cup right in the middle of them. I was like, if that isn't gold, I don't know what is. Like, that's great. That's great.
Hmm.
So I think that was one of my favorite times. And then I have two others. So my at the time I was seeing someone and they won tickets on the radio, and but they couldn't go, so
Hmm.
they gave the tickets to me, and I was like, oh cool, like I get to go to a random Rangers game. Like I wasn't planning this. It was a Monday night game. I skipped all my classes because I was really excited, and I took my sister to her first ever NHL game. And let me tell you how fucking lucky this bitch got. She was so lucky. So we take the train in and we're
Hmm.
walking, and Zuccarello was injured, so Zuccarello came in late. Zuccarello almost hit us with his car. So I'm just standing there and I'm looking right in, like trying to see who the fuck just someone hit me with their car. And it's literally Zuccarello. I'm sitting there, I'm like, Casey, you have no fucking idea who almost hit us with their car. Like I would have let him run me over. Like I would literally be like, listen, I won't sue you. I won't do anything. All you have to do is bring me into the locker room and let me meet everyone, and we're fair deal. Like fair deal. Like
Yeah,
that would have been
right.
what I would have said. And so that's how the night started. So I'm already freaking out like that. And I also don't know where I'm sitting. I'm like, it's probably radio seats. Like they're probably not great. They're probably high up somewhere in the 200s. So I go to the call office, will call, and I go there. I pick up my tickets and I look at them. I'm like, all right, these seats aren't horrible. And I still really don't have, like, this is like maybe my third or fourth game. So I was still kind of getting
Mhm.
used to the garden and where I was sitting and things like that. And
Mhm.
so I hand my tickets to the person as I'm like walking to the section, and they lead me down towards the ice. And I'm like, no fucking way. I'm like, this is not fucking happening right now. And so then they're like, here are seats. I'm like, oh, we're 5 rows away from the ice. I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, and we're right behind the goal. So like it's Henrik and then like right there, and then I'm like
Mhm.
right there. This was the first game where I could hear what they were saying on the ice. I could see their faces through their helmets, and I
Mhm.
literally just had a ball. I was with my sister. We had a great time. And it was something that like I'll never ever forget. I mean, my seats
Yeah.
now are amazing. Like I can't even describe my seats now because they're beautiful. I go there every game and I sit down. I get to see, well, I won't see Brady's face anymore, but
Yeah.
I can see people. And that's the thing. I was at Brady's last game as a Ranger and I didn't know. I was at his last game as a Ranger. I had
Mhm.
no idea. And Seamus told me, he's like, you were literally at his last game as a Ranger. And I was like, you know what? That's fine. Like, I'm happy that
Yeah.
I got that, like, closure, but didn't really know about it.
Mhm.
But then I'll finish the third one out with my favorite one. So
Mhm.
Seamus and I went to a Flyers Rangers game. It was preseason, so like nothing really counted. We went, it was my first time sitting in these seats, so I'm like sitting right where the Rangers like walk in and out. Like I'm sitting like right above there, and you
Mhm.
can walk down to the ice. I could see their water bottles, like it's so cool.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, this is fucking sick. Like I'm eating my chicken tenders, having a good night, and the Rangers go into overtime against the Flyers, and there's
Mhm.
Flyers fans sitting right in front of me. So I'm like, ooh, like I hope they win so I can scream at them. So Mika Zibanejad scores the last, it was what was it? It was a shootout. So he scores like the last goal, we
Mhm.
win. I'm like screaming, I'm like, yeah, like my first game with Seamus, we won, like I had a great
Mhm.
time. And so I was like, let's try and meet Brady tonight. The night's going great, let's try. So we walk outside and I go to this one spot that this girl told me to go to a while ago. And I was like, this could be a hit or miss. He could literally not come out here, or he could. So I'm standing there and we're just waiting around. And then there's this guy called Dancing Larry. You probably don't know who he is if you've never been to MSG. They do a little skit with him during the game, and he dances and he hypes everyone up during like the last period of the game, and it's really fun. Music's
Mhm.
blasting. Everyone like copies his dances because it's like so iconic now in like the Rangers community.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's walking by us and he was like, "Hey guys, like we had a great game tonight," and we're just having a short conversation with him. And then Mika Zibanejad, who scored the winning goal,
Yeah.
walks
Yeah.
out of where we're standing, and he goes to talk to Dancing Larry because they know who he is. And I'm just standing there. I'm like, holy shit, this is fucking Mika Zibanejad standing in front of me, who just won the game, who's probably one of the best players, could potentially be our captain. Like, and I literally go silent. I don't say anything. I'm just standing there. I'm like, and so Seamus, actually, I don't know if I can say this because it has to do with his job, but like he somehow like knows him through his job. So he was
Mhm.
like, hey man, like great game. I did this for you at my job. And then he was like, oh yeah, like I'm sorry if I was a hassle. Like I was like, my boyfriend is literally having a conversation with Mika Zibanejad. And I'm just saying that I'm like, so Dancing Larry's like, do you want me to take a picture of you guys? I'm like, yeah, of course. So he takes a picture. It's me and Seamus and Mika. And it's just like, that is one of the one nights that I will like never forget in my whole entire life. Because I met Mika Zibanejad. I mean, like anyone who's a
Yeah.
Rangers fan would probably want to meet him. So
That's
I was really
awesome.
excited. It was such a fun night. I should have had him sign my hat. I was dumb. I had a Sharpie with me for Brady's jersey, but yeah, it was a great night, and I can't wait till we can go back to those times and
Mhm.
be back in MSG and in the city. So
That's awesome. That's a bunch of crazy stories, yo.
yeah, it's
You
nuts.
almost got
It's
run by one Rangers player, and then you get a picture with one of the other. Damn,
mhm.
so I've only been to Madison Square Garden once, so I've never heard of Dancing Larry.
Yeah, that's only during Rangers. I'll take you to a Rangers game, and you'll understand everything.
Okay, okay.
I'll take you and your girlfriend. You can come with me and Seamus. We'll go on a double date to a Rangers game.
That'd be lit,
That'd
honestly.
actually be really fun.
That'd be fun. You have any last thoughts or anything else you want to add about the Rangers?
I don't think so. Besides, I hope we win the Stanley Cup, but that's it.
Let's hope for the best. Let's hope for the best.
Yeah, I hope so.
Any last thoughts? overall?
No, I don't think so. Not at all. I feel like we had a great combo about everything.
All
Yeah.
right, perfect. Then thank you, Lex, for joining me on the
Thank you
podcast.
for
I really
having
appreciate
me.
it. I really appreciate it. And everyone that was tuning in, listening, or watching, whether it be SoundCloud or YouTube, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Peace out, my people.